watched along. I've just realised I haven't set up my mic. So if you are able to watch this live and the sound isn't great, if you could let me know and I will plug it in. But I'm not going to disturb it everything now, shall I? Okay, let's connect it up. Hopefully it won't disconnect. Apologies for the rocky start. I had that sinking feeling that I hadn't done something. So let me just plug this in. Apologies if it rocks the... There we go. Right, so just set that up, and wonderful. So yeah, if you are able to watch along live, do say hello in the comments. Hopefully, got a really sinking feeling that you won't be able to hear me through the mic now. I'm sure it'll be fine. If not, we just have to make the card again, which is not a problem. So yeah, this is the card we're going to be making today. So this is the trifold card. And we've got beautiful in the white version and the craft. So we're gonna make the white version today. So I've got everything here. So if you've got the white kit or the craft kit, you can make either. And this is everything we have here. So all these kits, I'll just say who I am. I'm phone. So I am Della, and I'm a stamp designer, and I create card making kits for you to make structured designs from. By that I mean it's not just a pile of papers for you to have a play with. It is actually, they're designed, they're structured to actually make a specific design. But you're welcome to go off piste and make your own. But it's a nice way if you haven't quite got the crafting mojo going, and you just want some quick result but still get that chance to be creative. It's a great sort of middle ground. And quite often you find you might start making one design and then get halfway through and you spark some ideas of how you can change it, and things evolve and change from there. So right then, so we have got so this is the advanced kit for this version, so all the bits are here ready to cut out. However, if you have got the expert kit, which is just the stamps, which are here, so these are the buzzing birthday stamps, so that includes all the stamps that we need to make this card. So if you've got those, and then the cardstock, I've got a list in the description of all the different bits you need to stamp on what colours, so you can follow that guide. That would be a fab. And then one of the key things about this card is that it's the trifold. So it does fit into a 6x6 inch envelope, but it's actually made with a trifold. So let me just move this stuff out of the way and I'll show you how we do that. So if you've ordered the expert kit from me, you'll get the card blank. If you've got the beginner's kit, it's already cut for you. And the advanced as well, but the expert kit, you've only got the card blank. So what we need to do is slice this down. So it's obviously your choice. You could actually make a different, like a gateway fold. You could do something different with this card. So it's got 3 panels with 2 creases. Just about see it on there. Then, so what we're going to do is to cut this card down. So what I've done is I actually used an A3 guillotine, which is why I've got one here done. I'm not really able to get down on the floor to actually to do that today. However, if you haven't got an A3 guillotine, I will also say cutting at this angle is it's quite odd in that. So if you're A3, it would fit from top to bottom, but because you're doing it at the angle, it's slightly longer than the blade. And it seems to work some ways better because you need to have clearance space for the bit that's folded. I couldn't quite understand the maths around it, but I had quite a few attempts where I didn't think it fit along the blade, but actually if you keep trying it upside down, that way up, that way up, you'll be able to find a way that it fits along. But alternatively, if you haven't got that, you can use a pencil and ruler, or you can use a craft knife and a ruler to cut it along, or you can just draw a pencil line and then cut along it with a pair of scissors. So I'll just put out the measurements here, so I'll make sure you can see this all. So at this end we want 2 inches here, so you can mark the card at 2 inches, and at this end it's up to the corner. Okay, so obviously you won't have one that's cut out ready, so I would mark, if you can, get a nice long ruler so you can do this in one step, but if not, I'm going to mark that at just over 2 inches, and then I'm going to use any other straight object and use both of them. You can't see that on there, we do it that way. Any other straight object, just to give you a rough idea of where the line is. Oop. There you go, and then it doesn't have to be too exact, you just want to be able to get a straight line from top to bottom. There we go, so I've not hit the corner, can't see that, can you? Not hit the corner, but it's okay because I've hit the back, this side of the card. If I hit the top, then it would have a funny angle, but I'm going to trim this away so it doesn't actually matter. And then, oh, missed a bit. And then it's up to you whether you slice that with a craft knife and a metal ruler. Try and avoid using the plastic ones because you can cut, you'll get smaller and smaller your ruler as you cut away from it. But a nice metal ruler is good for cutting with knives, or just a pair of scissors and cut along that line. So, but today I'm going to use the one I've already got cut out, and then let's just have a look through the other bits that we've got today. So we've got lots of little strips, got the yellow ones for decoration and then the green ones for stems, and then our happy birthday. And I've curved the edges on that one using a corner punch. If you want that effect, you could cut them with scissors if you haven't got a corner punch. And then these are all our bits to do some cutting out. So I've got my trusty scissors here, so I'm going to do some cutting out. And if you've followed along my workshops before, I'm going to start with the leaves. It's big and easy to start off with. If you've done my workshops before, that you'll know that I take them at quite a leisurely pace. So the idea is that if you've got the advanced kit, you can watch the video and make it at the same pace that I'm making it. So you're not having to pause the video and rewind to catch what I did when. So I make no apologies for me just relaxing and cutting out quite a lot of pieces for this card. And then what I'll do is, if you've got the beginner's kit, all the pieces are already cut out for you. So we'll get to a point in this video where we'll be making the card from the beginner's version, and I will put a timestamp in the description to say where. So if you're watching the replay, you can jump ahead to that, or just use the time to make a cup of tea and maybe think about things you want to change on this card or add, because there's a lot of I've got a lot of elements here, but I don't want to overload it because I don't want to make the kit too large, and this demo would take a few more hours, but there's a lot of space on this card to add more to it. So you can really go to town with decorating all the sides, because once it's on display, it can be left on display quite open, so you can decorate extra bits. It's quite fun. And also I was going to say, so I was going to say the way of making the card with normal card blanks, so if you haven't got access to the trifold cards, these demo ones, the prototype cards I've got here are actually made out of two normal 6x6 cards. I'll just finish this and I'll just show you. So I wonder if it's easier to see it on the craft. So what I've done, if you can see that join there, so I've actually cut that away from so I've got two cards like that, and I've trimmed them down and then cut that flat panel. I haven't attempted to create the same slant. I thought it'd be neater just to have it as a block across. It's quite subtle when it's not seen at all when it's folded up, but even if they're having a look, it doesn't scream. Wonderful. I'll cut out this little leaf. So if you've been following on the videos this week, you might recognise these larger ones were actually used as petals in the flower we made on the card that we made on Monday. So I do flip between calling it the petal stamp or the giant leaf stamp, but they were very nice as leaves today. And the same goes for this one. If you wanted to, you could use this as a petal as well. You could stamp it out and cut it out in colourful papers and make a flower that way. Then we've got our actual flowers and the hexagons. Let me cut out the hexagons first. So these are two different stamps. So the hexagon is one stamp and then the bee is another. But they were designed to be able to fit one inside the other. So when I'm designing the stamps, I'm designing them with these five new designs in mind. So that's my aim for a set of stamps, is to have 5 cards that use the stamps to the best of their ability, and so they're sized just right for what we're making. But they have a lot more potential for other things you can make with them. So I'm cutting on the outside of the black line. You'll see from a lot of my designs I've got a nice thick black edge because I do love a bit of fussy cutting. It just makes it a little bit easier and a bit more forgiving because you can go in and out of the line without worrying too much. So these flowers start getting a little bit more tricky. I like these in the white because I sort of refer to them as daisy flowers, but yeah, when we've got them this white and yellow, it's just screams daisy. They're beautiful. And then on the craft version, they're actually stamped on cream. Just because the white on the cream looks quite too cold, because it's got more warmer tones in the craft. But I really like how bright and summery this white version of the card is. And if you don't want to be daisies, that's absolutely fine. So this, the stamps that are in your beginner's kit or advanced kit, they're all stamped with dye-based Memento ink. Which means if you've got alcohol markers, so Pro markers, Copics, when you have a brand, you'll be able to colour these in without the black ink bleeding into the marker colour. So you can colour in these beautiful petals, bright, vibrant colours, before you add them onto your card. So I'll get into the zone and just relax into the cutting out. I would normally do this this kind of cutting out, watching TV in the evening. I'll take a little, I say a tray, it's actually like my storage boxes up here, like the lids are nice shallow trays, and I fill them up with bits and pieces that I want to cut out for various projects. And then I'll take, once I finish my work here, I'll take it downstairs and watch some mindless TV. I say mindless. it varies. Sometimes it's nice if you're just intricate cutting. It's like you can stick on a Friends episode or something, and you can just listen to it and you can focus on what you're cutting out. But to be honest, I quite often kind of half watch, half cut. And watching things. I watched. I got completely what's that? Blindsided, that's the word. Blindsided by I was watching Firefly Lane, which I think is quite old now, isn't it? But I hadn't seen it before, so I've been watching it, catching up on Netflix, and there's no spoilers, obviously. But the episode last night just went from fine, happy, okay, and then into like, oh my goodness, heartbreak. And I had to put everything down because I think I spent the last 10 minutes just sobbing. I always find that, it's like, my husband's just like looking at me like, what on earth? I'm like, it's fine, I'm fine. I was like, I wasn't guarded. You know, sometimes you know, like a show's heading that direction, and you know, like a big shock's coming, but nope. Got me completely out of the blue. So shuttering along. So we're using I'm going to cut out the circles for this. If you've had enough of cutting out by that point, you can colour these in instead. Colour in the yellow, that's an alternative, and the bees as well. So you can colour in the bees. But we're going to add some foam pads to them. So I do quite like getting that 3D element onto the card as well. So I've got a lot got out, so I've gone into the flow mode. So if you're while you're cutting out, if you notice that when I'm rotating the card around, but keeping the scissors in the same direction, and that gives you more control, and it's a lot less pressure on your wrists as well, because you're not trying to sort of maneuver yourself around the shape. So when I get to the point in the middle, I'm going to sort of grip it with the scissors and then spin the card all the way around until it's at the right angle again, and you get much smoother edges, smoother curves. So you're aiming to cut away all the white from on the outside of the petal. So if you have got little flecks of white still, don't worry too much, because you can go back with a pen and just blot those in so they don't show up so much. as I saved the smallest flower to last. Got a little bit extra there I want to get rid of. There we go. And then I'm going to switch to yellow just to give myself a nice little change. So we've got the flower centres and then the bees. And what we're going to do with the bees is just cut out the body and the head. So don't worry about the wings, the legs or the antennae. So I deliberately sort of designed this stamp this way so that we can sort of decoupage and layer him up with some easy bits to cut out. So that's why you'll see that the other image is stamped onto the white card. So go all around the body, try on the outside the black line, and we've got a little bit more leeway this time because we're mounting this onto the image already. Then if you cut away any of the black line, then the black line underneath will come in handy. So that'll be on there. Let's cut out one of these flower centres. So again, we're aiming for the outside of the black line, but it's quite forgiving because we're layering it on top of a flower that's already got that outline. It's not such an issue. Ooh, it's like when you're peeling an orange. I go, well, normally I snip away from that, but I've got to have a few in one go. And then let's do this. I find it easy just to, especially when I'm deciding what I'm cutting off, is just to do a rough cut around the shape. Make all the decisions at that point. So you don't find yourself accidentally going off around the wing. Yep. And I'm going to go back to the flowers. Flower. So again, just cutting away any excess because I don't want the weight of the card pulling on the scissors. And we'll just whiz around these ones. I think generally these craft longs, I generally have one design that has distinctly more cutting out than the rest. But I think this one's got a fair amount. But I think the one tomorrow has as well. So I think I'll have to see how the times measure up to see which one ends up coming on. Oh, I've just seen. Oh, hello, Katie. I'd love you to say hello. So I have got the screen. I have been quite engrossed in the cutting, so apologies if I missed how long ago you sent that message. But thank you. She said, I love your art. Thank you very much. So all the images here are made with the stamp set Buzzing Birthday, which I designed all the images for. So I've evolved my business from making card designs of other people's materials to making it all from scratch, which is really exciting. And it's lovely to have that control, to be designing a card and then go, oh, I need that a bit bigger, or I need that to come in from the, or that be from the left and that be from the right, and things like that, and I can adapt and control it. Yes. There we go. So this is, we're making this card as part of the summer craft along, which is a week of virtual workshops, so you can watch back any of the past ones as well. We normally do it twice, but we're going to start doing it twice. This is the first summer one we've done, but we've been running the Christmas one for many years, and yeah, so we have been, I think, we mixed it up. We had it as Facebook Lives. I think we did Zoom ones one year, but I quite like this building up on YouTube, because it means it's a, oh, I haven't finished it, have I? It means it builds up a real, what's the word, directory of like different tutorials that I can direct people to. It always feels a bit difficult trying to direct people to a Facebook Live that was like published 3 years ago, because it's virtually impossible to get to find the URL for it, whereas on YouTube it's all nicely organised and you can easily find them when searching. And what's great about it's called a craft along because about 6 weeks ago I launched the craft along kit for this event, so that you can have a whole box of goodies to make all 5 designs that we're doing this week, and you can choose which colour you make it, whether you have it advanced, beginners or expert, so that you've got the perfect excuse to actually look at an hour each day, whether it's on your lunch break or you catch up in the evenings. That's just for you to just chill out and make some cards with me. So right, let me just clear this away. Look, it's a big pile of recycling. I've got I say little, I've got a huge cereal box down here. I have two boys that are now, one's just become a teenager, which is quite shocking. But yes, they eat their own weight in cereal, and I nab the boxes to fill up with my paper recycling up here. Right, and let's have a look. So I think now we're at the stage of the beginner's kit. So this is all the different bits you get in the beginner's kit, all ready to use. And the first step we're going to do is to stick the yellow strips on there. So I'm just going to move all of these out of the way, simply because I haven't got much space. I think because I might move the camera up a bit, just because this is such a large surface to work on. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So apologies for the motion sickness. There we go, that's a bit better. So with these strips, you can, if you want to, you can put them flush against the top. That's up to you. I've opted to leave a little white gap along, and then you've got 3 of them for each panel. So what I'm going to do is fold the card now as well. So you want the small one at the front, going to start with the first one. Now, nice little trick if you've got your ruler and pencil still handy. Nice little trick for this is to draw a line. So you got you know how much gap you want to leave on the top, and you're going to draw a line. You're going to aim for the middle of the yellow, where it would be. Just draw a light line across, and then we're going to add the glue to that line. So in theory you could do that by eye, but chances are you'll go slightly off. So this is Glossy Accents. It's my wet glue of choice. So if you've got Pritt Stick, or so Pritt Stick, you won't need to add the glue to the back of the strip. And if you've got a wet glue like this, a PVA, add on there. So this takes a little while to cure this glue, so I'm just going to leave it for a bit because at the moment it will just slide everywhere. So this first one is nice and easy, so we're going to keep this long. We're not going to worry about trimming it down until it's stuck down, because the chance of getting the angles right. Just going to give that a chance to have a little bit of water. There we go. Right, that should have cured enough, so I'm just going to carefully lay that on there. Gently push that down. So I'll give that a little bit of time to dry before I trim off the ends. While it's doing that, let's move on to the next one. So that's the nice easy one because you can overlap on both ends. The next two, one end can't overlap. It has to nuzzle into the fold of the card. So for this, maybe I should wait for that so I can show you properly then. So I'm going to use a pair of sharp scissors. I'm going to use the edge of the card as a guide to cut a nice straight line on. And then the same on the crease side. Okay. Right, and then we're going to open up the card and take the next strip. Now, to be honest, you can't even see that bit, so you can just stick it like that. But I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so what I'm going to do is open up the card. I'm going to use my pencil, and I'm just going to draw a straight line based on that fold, so I get that angle, and then just snip that down. I'm going to snip it on the far side of the pencil line, so it's not got pencil line to show. And just see that you're happy with that. And then again, just try to judge that you've got the right gap. And then we're going to draw another line for the glue. And repeat the same process. So if you're watching along live, if you've got any questions, do just pop them in the live chat box. I think that's only there for during the live video, and then once it gets published, it starts again with comments. But if you're watching the replay and you've got any comments, any questions, then do add them to the comments, and I will reply on there. Just going to let that glue set for a little bit before I attempt to glue this on, otherwise it will ooze out the sides. There we go, so I'm just lining up this edge in here. And then move that across and let that glue that glue dry. I'm going to give it a few more seconds. Sorry, it's too much haste, because I want the glue to be, because otherwise it will move as I try and cut it. So I want the glue to be set. Tell you what we could do, we could add some foam pads to the back of these bits, couldn't I? Lots to come. So yes, so in the kits you'll have these foam pads. So these are sticky on both sides and they create that 3D element. The squares are a perfect size for the large flower centre. There's two of them, isn't there? There we go. And then I'll explain what we do with the rest in just a bit. Let's cut this off. And then open it up, and we'll repeat the same process for the one at the back. So first of all, I'm going to line it up and then draw a straight line following where the crease of the card is, and then I'm going to cut this off. Make sure I cut off all the pencil line. Just check you're happy with how that went. Yep. You can always go back and I'll give you plenty of strip to use. And draw our glue line. And I'll just let that dry. So for these bits, the squares are a little bit too big for the back of the bees. So what we would do for those is to cut these down to a smaller size. To avoid your scissors getting too sticky, I recommend you keep them on the backing paper and cut through them on there. Add those to the back. Before I get too carried away, let's go back to this. Good, just let that dry. And there should be a little flower centre somewhere here. There it is. So this one's, I've got a little square there from last time, so you can cut them into smaller squares. And there we go. So we've got those ready for, that's one of the final steps. Right, this should be ready to trim off now. There we go. There we got our start of our beautiful design. Looking good. So the next step is optional. So to add a nice little 3D effect, what I've done is I've dry embossed the leaves, and to do this I've used the official term is a embossing stylus, which is a new word for me. So it's ball with a stick with a ball on the end, so a little metal ball. Use them with oops, sorry, I hit the mic. Use them with a faux art. You do dots. No, faux art. That's not the word. Not the right one I'm thinking of. Anyway, sort of mandalas and things. They're very useful. But today we're going to use it to emboss. So we're going to create this raised pattern on the leaf. So I'm going to turn it upside down on this foam pad. If you haven't got a foam pad, then you can use a thick magazine or like a cork heat mat from the kitchen. So yes, so what we're going to do is do just a confident press down, do a wavy line from the base to the tip of the leaf. And I'll do the same on this one. Doesn't have to be too neat. And also, I say aim for the tip, because to actually hit the very corner is very difficult to do. It always goes off to the side, but that's absolutely fine. And then turn them over and then just gently fold along the crease you've created, just to encourage it to bend like that. And same with this one. So just push into the curve that you've created. And then we'll raise those up with foam pads so it will keep some of that shape, so it won't just get stuck down flattened again. So now what you want to do is arrange everything onto the card. So there's a lot of options here because we've got a lot of space to cover, and if you can see, there's a bit of a spot the difference round now. There are, I've done these two cards in different ways. See if you can spot, I think they're both on screen. Spot the differences. So the card goes the same way. You could have even done it the other way if you wanted to fold the card the other way around. But I've gone B, flower first, and B first, and then the opposite. So you see at the front here, the little flower is on this end, or it's on this end. So initially made this one, I thought this one would look a lot better, and had it in mind that I was going to have to redo that prototype and just like change the design. And actually they both work really well. So that's why I've got one of each now. I'm going to make this white one in this layout, so that I can see exactly what it looks like. The benefits of it like this way means that more of the background is covered, if that makes sense. So a bigger chunk of this area has got something on it, whereas this one you get big open spaces under here, which it depends how it's displayed, how sort of blank that looks. So it's completely up to you. Also, you've got the opportunity to add more to it as well, so you could add more flowers and more leaves. Things could be hidden away that you can't see when the card is like this, but it will be on display, it will be seen. So let's start. So we've got the stems. So the stems, as ever, I always make them longer than you need, so just let them overhang at the bottom, and we'll trim them off as we go. So let me just open that up so we can all copy that one. So I recommend laying everything out. Don't worry about the centres, just get an idea for where flowers are. What's really fun about this card is basically it's this dead space up here, or empty space. So if you can imagine where the normal 6x6 card would be, all of this space here you can overlap into, and it will still fold down and fit into an envelope. And that's what's really fun about this card, that it can be bigger than the card blank. So, and then we're going to bring that over there. So you see he gets a little bit lost, so we're going to bring him forward a little bit. And his leaf, so this leaf might probably go over the, you can come off the edge of the page. If you've got the stamp set, you might prefer this one to be like 2 little leaves rather than the big one. There. Across. And then this is where the biggest difference is, because sort of the little flower is squeezed into the end this way. This one's got more space for it here. Again, it can go over the top. Just going to trim this down because I think my tummy's going to get in the way. I'm going to knock it. trim that one down. But you can't just go over the sides of the card, it's just the top. Make sure you've got a nice bit of space for that to go in. There we have it. Doesn't it look so like bald or naked without the yellow covers on top? We'll get there. So play around with the positioning. We want to bring everything a bit closer in. Make sure you can. Make sure you can see everything in that position. Obviously, when it's on display, it is slightly different, but it gives you a nice. Because people will definitely admire the card by holding it closed. So that's good. Now, I recommend at this point is taking a photo of whatever layout you choose to then refer back to, because what we have to do now is dismantle it all to be able to stick down the first ones. But it's worth doing this step just to make sure that everything fits where you want it to do, because you've got 3 layers to deal with. You don't know what's going to be covering on one layer to the next. So I'm not going to take a photo because I'm recording, but I will use this version as my guide and hopefully not go too wrong. So I'm going to take the top 2 layers off. I'm going to open up the card and then just work on this bottom layer. Keep things where they were. So I'll tell you what, I did like. I think last time I glued the stems, but I think I might use the glue line trick. It would work for this as well, wouldn't it? Doing. I have fingers and thumbs today. And let's use the wet glue. And while that's drying a little bit, we're just going to add some foam pads to the leaf. So the foam pads, it increases the depth or the thickness of the card. So if you are looking to send this card in the post, just be aware that it might tip it over into the next payment bracket. I'm just going to put a second layer in the middle of it there just to boost that a bit, so that we try and keep that fold, so you can still see that fold. But if you wanted to post it and not pay extra, then you can make this card just flat. There's a lot of interesting things going on. It doesn't necessarily need the 3D as well. That on there again, just let it overlap the bottom and we'll trim that away later on. And then I'm going to add foam pads to the back of the flower. Don't have to completely cover it, but you want, and tell you what, important step on here is to make sure that you're not adding foam pads to anything that's going over the top. So I very nearly did then. So I've probably only got room for 2 on here actually. Let's put 2 down here. What's nice about this one is it's because it's symmetrical. It doesn't matter which way round. So let's do that. And on there, and then just peel off the leaves. Not the leaves, the backing sheets on this one. And that's going to go. I want that a little bit higher up so that it can be seen at the top. It's got a lovely 3D effect on it. And then adding the bee in as well. So again, so be careful on this one that you get the bee the foam pads on the bit that's there. So actually I'm going to put the foam pads on there. It's a nice fit card, so it's going to hold its own. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to leave the yellow bits till last because that's a really nice finishing or finale, shall I say. So then fold it over and then work on the next panel. So let's start again with the thingy, stem. Wonderful. So, let's do the stem. Okay, well I'm letting that cure a little bit. Let's just add some foam pads to the back of this one. So this one's going to come off the bottom of the page, so just off the card, so just be careful not to put foam pads too far down. And these foam pads are really, really strong. Probably a bit premature to take those back and so let me put that there carefully. Remind myself that it's wet. Let's add this on. And then again check the flower because you want to make sure you haven't gone over. So I probably can fit 2 on here. On one side, so keeping half of it nice and clear, and then we can position that. Got a little bit of white bit showing there. I'm feeling a little bit stubborn over, so I'm just going to get a black Sharpie and just do it very lightly because it will bleed onto the card. We can just cover up any bits that you haven't fully cut out. Yeah, I think most of them is generally fine, but it's where it was overlapping on the green, the white really stood out to me then. So, and then this one's already sticky. So you want the sort of tops of the leaf to appear above that line. Oh, and then 1B. Am I going to have enough foam pads left? I don't think I am. Let's go rummage for some more. And let's get that in a little bit there. Go. And then the final layer. Oh, it's a bit thick, that one. I was at the end of that one. That's the one I cut out. So I'm going to trim this one. Take this stem instead because it's slightly thinner. And it's like the small flower at the front to be less. final line. And then I'm going to add foam pad to the back of the flower. Do it at 1/2. Oh, we didn't do the, I forgot to do the little flower, a little leaf. Let's emboss that. Actually, one sec, I'm just going to stick this down because it's a bad habit, I always move on to do something else and then forget the glue. Although it just dries solid, this glue, so if it does do that, then you could just add another layer of glue on top. Just add a sort of extra 3D bit. So I'm just going to emboss this little leaf as well. Right off on the side. So again, just fold that. And then I'm going to feel like a bit more like a tulip leaf. It's going to kind of like cover the stem. And then let's add, I think I am on the last foam pad, which I think if I cut into 2 rectangles will be perfect. If it wasn't for the fact that I just flew onto the floor beside me. Let me do that. I should have a nice stash of them in here somewhere. Got another one here. There we go, it's nice and sort of thin strips, so you kind of like, you're just putting the raised bit on the middle and that gives it a chance to keep that 3D shape. Actually, I'm going to keep it up a bit higher, this one I think. I'm not going to trim that bit off. Wonderful. That's nice, it's not over the edge. And then the happy birthday. So I've kept this flat on my designs because there's a lot of other bits popping out on the card. And I'll do the same here, but you can if you want to raise it on foam pads or foam tape because it's such a large area. You can. I'm just going to add glue to the back of that. And then, ooh, the right way around. And just aim for sort of a nice even gap around here. Obviously you've got a slant, so it's not going to be exact. And actually I want a bit more that way. Wonderful. So let's cut away the bits we don't need. So these are all nice and dry, so using sharp pair of scissors. Okay, and one more. Everything's going to be hitting the floor today, so I'll be tidying up afterwards. Wonderful. So that's got the base sorted, and now for the finishing touches. So we added the foam pads to the backs of these bits earlier. So now it's a case of matching them up and sticking them on. So we've got the flower centres. And then the little one. And then the bees. Let's open it up so we can get to him. So just line him up over the top. So because it's on foam pads, you are sort of, if you look at it at an angle, you are going to sort of see the different layers. So if you wanted it to be like completely flush, you can stick them down flat. But I quite like that 3D effect, and it sort of shows the fact that it's how it's constructed. You can see the bee underneath him there. There we have it. We're a bit of a messy studio now. I will tidy these bits up. But here is our finished card. So it will fit into a 6x6 envelope. When you're writing on the card, you can either write along the back, or if you want to keep a panel here or on the back, or even in the middle, there's quite a lot of options. If you want to make it feel more like deliberate, you could cut out a piece of pale paper to stick there and then write on the panel, so it looks like you've given yourself a place to write. That's totally up to you. And you can just keep adding to this card. I feel like there's so much space that you can add extra embellishments, but as we've taken an hour so far to make this card, I didn't want to add too much to the kit. But yes, please let me know how you get on with this trifold design and this zigzag, and I'd love to see your design. So if you make this one from the craft along kit, let me know, or if you make this idea but with your own supplies, or with the buzzing birthday stamps, which are here. So these are now available to order online now, and will be at various events over the summer. If you're local and going to come and see me, then do send me your finished pictures. I love to see, and we can help inspire other people of what we can make with these stamps and with this sort of concept. So yeah, you can either tag me on Instagram or Facebook, just at Della by Design, or you can email them directly to me. So my email address is Della, which is DELLA at Della by Design here .co.uk. So yeah, do let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for watching today, and yeah, please see my channel for other tutorials. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.